evening. Sorry, Carl, go ahead.
No, BG.
Good
I was
evening. Welcome to another episode of Eat Sleep Sixers podcast. I am your host, BG. I have my brother 215, the sports guy, aka Carl, in the building. How you doing?
better than yesterday, BG.
I have I have my sister Jennifer Green in the building, aka Jenny from the block. How you doing?
Yeah, I echo Carl's sentiments. And I was saying to BG earlier that his little post game playing of that Rocky clip really lifted my spirits and kind of, helped me get out of my funk from that terrible loss yesterday. So
It's
thank you,
okay. It's
BG.
okay. No problem. No problem. I was here to enlighten everybody. Let everybody know. Look, it's not always gonna be easy, but I like what we got to go through to get what we need to get to. So it's okay. It's okay. I know y'all not used to seeing us on non-game days. I know y'all used to watching an amazing podcast called Sixers Off Nights with my brother Sabrina Latine and Brandon Hine. But we are here today to give you an exclusive interview with the legendary Dei Lynam. She's not here yet, but she will be here. We wanted to make sure we was on talking. We're gonna chop it up about the Brooklyn game for everybody that didn't get everything off their heart last night. I.e. Jen, because she said I'm not even getting on the podcast tonight because I'm sick to my stomach about these Sixers. So this small segment is for Jen to get everything she wants to say out about the
Oh,
Brooklyn Nets game
wow.
last night.
And we're just here sipping our tea, Jen, and listening.
So I was kind of I guess got disgusted and I had to turn the game off and I had to go to bed. So that's just what went down last night. Watching them turn that ball over and over, it was just too much for me to take. It was like they had like oil on their hands or something, and it was just slipping. Ball was just slipping right out of their hands, and then missing shots left and right, not being aggressive,
3 for 17 in Harden. 3 for 17. Yeah,
getting
that was a
run
Danny Green
out
night.
of their own arena by Seth Curry. I mean, that hurt my soul a little bit when he walked by the bench like he was the freaking
Quick,
Michael Jordan.
quick question. Quick question. Did y'all expect that from Seth?
No,
Not that he had a good
Listen,
game. Did
listen.
y'all expect him to be that cocky towards us?
I didn't think he was going to be
Absolutely.
petty, but
Absolutely.
Carl
The
did.
guy did not want to get traded. He was upset about getting traded. You get to face the team that traded you. And, he took that as a shot because he was having a career year. And we traded him to the Brooklyn Nets. So that was a here's what y'all missing type of game from him.
No. See, Carl, you didn't understand the question.
I did.
I didn't say, did you not expect him to go off? Did you
No.
expect him to be
Yes.
that cocky
Yes.
towards us?
Yes. Because he was the same way on our team against rival teams that we played. I've seen that a couple times from
No,
him
no,
when he's
no, because that
hot.
was it. That was his season high last night.
That was that was
He ain't gave us that this year.
that was a little extra from him. But like I said, the situation, you're facing a team who just traded you when you didn't want to be traded. You know what I mean? So I was expecting that. I was expecting that from him. I did not expect him to go off the way he did, but I was expecting that type of vibe from him. But
I was surprised.
Yeah, Joel was the only one that actually showed up to play that game, and they can't guard him, so they fouled him every 5 seconds, which I guess they're saying maybe took the Sixers out of their rhythm. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you shoot a basketball for a living, you shouldn't be able to get out of your rhythm that easily. Uh, and James Harden, I was completely surprised. People keep saying that he, kind of disappears in the big moments, and I was just wait until I saw it for myself to believe it, I guess. But wow,
I
yeah.
Do you
mean,
agree? Do you agree that you felt like they tried to do what Brooklyn did? And when I say that, do you feel as though James Harden and Joel Embiid tried to make it a superstar versus superstar game? Because that's what I felt in the
Absolutely.
first quarter. I felt like it was, look, I'm gonna ISO. Oh, Kevin Durant ISO. Now I'm gonna ISO. Ooh, Kyrie Irving ISO. Now I'm gonna ISO.
Yeah, I definitely did. It didn't feel like a team game, and it definitely was really on my nerves every time he would blatantly, obviously try to get fouled, flailing all around. I'm like, come on, man. This is 2022. Can you just play basketball? Can you just shoot the damn basketball?
But that's the crazy thing, Jen. That's what has always had him as a top 3 free throw attempt guy in the league. He's been doing that for years, and it's worked. But it's been days where it's like last night where he couldn't get a call. He has a lot of those games, but he has a lot of games where he shoots 14 free throws. So he like, why stop when I got more of those days where they give me the calls than not give me the calls. But yeah, it was bad last night,
But
man.
he needs to tune into that when, you know what, the calls aren't going my way. I need to switch up my strategy. Like, he's a smart enough guy, and he has the basketball IQ to figure that sort of stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. Most definitely. What I saw that bothered me last night was, the ball not moving at all. Like BG mentioned, these guys got caught up in the one-on-one game, and we can't beat them at that game. We can beat them playing the basketball that we've been playing the last 5 games before that. We've been moving the ball. Harden has had 10 plus assists. He's been the point guard, the master point guard, moving the pieces around. I didn't see that. I seen Harden off to the wing trying to set up shop on his own. Boom, triple team. I seen Embiid trying to set up shop on his own. Boom, triple team. You're making yourselves easier to guard that way. I seen no pick and roll action with Harden and Embiid like I've seen. I did not see it at all. And we made ourselves easier to defend. Point blank.
Yes, absolutely.
We would have lost against any team in the NBA last night the way we played.
Real quick. This is a good question. I watched every second of the game. Who was Seth guarding? Because every team, when he played for the Sixers, said, I don't care who it is, we're going to ISO Seth because he can't defend. Who was Seth guarding last night? I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese Maxey did not make him pay at all. That was the quietest I've seen this young man since he's been inserted in the starting lineup. So I don't know. The whole team, it just was a bad game. And, who do I place the blame on? The whole damn team.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach. I feel like the coach got out-coached. Doc Rivers got out-coached.
Yeah, he had no plan at all.
Nah.
And let me ask you this question. If it were you, would you have taken the starters out at the start of the fourth quarter?
At 30, being down 30, Jen?
Uh-huh.
Is it impossible to come back? No, but was it worth the stress on the stars' bodies when they would have had to give maximum effort to even make it a fight? To beat a team, think about it, to beat a team by 30 and a quarter is almost unheard of. So I would have took them out. Okay. They could have made it closer, but the chances of them coming back, we had I think going into the fourth quarter, we had a 1% chance of winning the game. Like, it was that bad. Like, it went to 1%. So yeah, you sit the starters. You let them sit there and watch what they created. You don't get to go in the back. You don't get to go get a massage. No, go. I want you to look at what y'all made happen. Y'all lost this game today. As a team, y'all gonna watch this. So yeah, I agree with taking them out in the fourth quarter. The start of the fourth quarter too, not 1 second from a starter.
Now, I brought this up in Sixers 24/7, and we have this platform here. I want to bring it up to you guys and hear what you think about it. So, not to say he played bad last night. I thought he had the positive stat line of everybody last night. But with the way this team is currently constructed, and I personally feel as though there's a lack of three-point shooting and a lack of floor spreading in the starting lineup. Would you guys swap George's name for Toby and make Toby that sixth man off the bench to give the bench a little bit more pop? And why, BG? Why? Because he's a max guy?
Yes.
Nah, that's not good enough for me.
Here's my reason why I wouldn't do that. It's that Toby is not going to be that guy that's going to give you that jolt, that pop that you need. He's never been that guy.
I feel as though off that bench, he has no choice but to be that guy with guys like Shake Milton and Korkmaz and Jordan off the bench. There's nobody to really go to for a bucket like that. So I think he automatically becomes that guy with those group of guys. And this is no judgment on his play. It has everything to do with the way that Harden and Nang have been gelling, along with Joel Embiid and Nang have been gelling. I want to see him play more minutes with those guys than I want to see Tobias with those guys. Tobias needs a jump start himself. So at this point, you got to kind of try. It's a problem. You got to try something. The bench
But
needs a
he
jump start.
has. But see, Doc has tried the bench lineup with Tobias, and it's been a failure. It's been a failure.
Well, at this point, with the lack of shooting going on and the lack of fast starts, and that was a conversation piece as well. What do you do about the slow starts with us? This has been for a while. It didn't just start happening. What do we do about the slow starts?
I get that, but taking Toby out of the starting lineup doesn't fix that.
I mean, it doesn't help it either. So at this point, what do you shake up to get that popping? What do you shake up as a coach?
Bro, we the 3 seed. What are we shaking things up for?
I understand that, but listen to me.
We're not the 8 seed, we the 3.
I understand all that seed and all of that stuff like that, but we're talking playoff basketball. We're talking a playoff outlook. You cannot afford to start 17. Hold on, let me make my point.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You cannot afford to start slow in the playoff. You'll get blown off the floor. This is a trend that we're setting. So, and I'm not just speaking off of last game. It is what it is. Everybody gets punched in the mouth at some point. I'm just talking on what's been going on throughout the season. We're coming back a lot of games.
But Carl, me and you have both openly admitted our bench stinks. So who is going to listen? Who is going to replace Tobias in the starting lineup? And all of a sudden, we're a fast starting team. We don't like whoever we insert is going to be a downgrade from Tobias. So how would that make it start better?
A downgrade. It depends on how you look at it. We lack floor spreading. We lack shooters. So what I'm saying is, who is the better shooter? Yeah, we lose a little bit of defense. But who's the better shooter? Tobias or George Nang? Answer me that question.
Depends on the night. It depends on the night.
I mean, you can look at run the stats right now. He's the best 3-point shooter on the Sixers, bar none. George's name. He's the best 3-point shooter on the team, bar none. So
isn't that James Harden?
Nah, he's shooting at a higher clip than James Harden.
So shouldn't it be James Harden?
It should be James Harden.
And it's a valid point. The spacing is an issue, and that is the issue. But we've also seen games recently where it hasn't been, where the spacing has been great and the freaking passing has been great. So why are they slipping away from that? Whatever worked, I don't think keep doing that. Do what worked. Quit trying to make it more complicated than it needs to be.
I think everybody was watching the same thing that we were watching yesterday. They saw Twitter, they saw Sports Center. Oh, Ben Simmons is in town. Oh, Ben Simmons this, Ben Simmons that, and they lost track of the fact that we had to play the Brooklyn Nets, who have KD and Kyrie that were healthy and ready to ball, and they brought it to us. So I agree with James Harden. We needed that smack in the mouth. There are other teams out there just like that that's going to bring it to us. We got to regroup a little faster than we did last night. 30-point loss on national TV, that was ugly.
Not a good look at all. Yeah,
that was ugly.
That's for sure.
So, it was a rough night. It was a rough night to say the least. So, I'm all in the mood for forgiving and forgetting, when it comes to games like that. So it is what it is. It was what it was. Today's a new day. Hopefully the Sixers had a great practice. We'll look forward to the next game, who we play.
Orlando
on Sunday.
Orlando Magic, who has a familiar face back in the lineup, and Markelle Fultz. Markelle is back, and that shot is falling. So, Definitely
Good
a
for
team.
him.
Yeah, most definitely good for him. Most definitely a team we should blow out the water, but we just lost to an eighth seeded team. I don't think we should be looking at no team like that. So what are your thoughts about the Sixers versus Orlando Magic lineup?
I don't
Easy
think
one.
it should absolutely be a reverse of last night's game. I mean, they should be sitting out in the fourth quarter, but not because they're losing so bad that they can't win.
Most definitely. Most
I'm
definitely.
more concerned about the games after that. Like, I think we play the Nuggets, right? And
Yeah.
we play the LA teams, which, I mean, one LA team is not doing so hot, but you get James Harden out there in LA, and Lord knows what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
He'll be at the strip club.
Yeah.
He'll be partying with his friends.
So we got Orlando, Denver, Cleveland, Dallas, Toronto, Miami, both LAs. This is where this stretch is the craziest stretch. Let me read this stretch off to y'all. So we go from Dallas to Toronto to Miami, LA, Phoenix, Milwaukee. Then we get a break with Detroit. Our schedule actually ends pretty cake. We should run
Yeah,
through the end of
like
our schedule. But that
Pistons.
little bucket of games, Dallas, Toronto, Miami, Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, Milwaukee, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So the road doesn't get a lot easier. So hopefully the Sixers are taking advantage of this practice time that we have for implementing some, ways to overcome situations like we did last night. And it's just simple and easy. We weren't playing Sixers brand of basketball last night. The ball wasn't moving. The ball
I'm
wasn't
telling
moving.
you, like watching that first quarter, I felt like it was a star competition. Like, no, that's not the All-Star game no more. It's the Sixers versus the Nets. They go through their stars. We don't. We play basketball. Let's beat this team, and we didn't. We went out there trying to compete with just KD and Kyrie, and that's not. You're not going to win a game like that.
The thing that scares me the most about last night, our two stars are heavily relied on the free throw line to get their points. They're heavily relied on the referees to call the fouls. Wasn't happening last game. It did not happen last game. And, did not seem like we had an answer for that. If they're not calling your rip through, or if they're not calling certain calls where you go into the rec, you know, in my opinion, from watching basketball for some years, you got to continue to attack the rec aggressively. And I just didn't see that. I didn't see that last night. And
Real quick, and we see a question. I apologize. We took so long to get to it. Do you think Embiid knows the plays for others, or just the ones where he shoots? What do you think, Jen? Does it feel like he's engaged in the offense or in Embiid? Is he engaged in what's for him, or is he engaged in what's for the team? At times, do you notice?
Well, that's a good question because he's been carrying this team pretty much on his back for until we got Harden. So I think most of the plays he was involved, right? So now he's going to have to change his mindset and he's going to have to start knowing the other plays. I don't know. What do you think, BJ?
Uh, Again, I think at times he can get into his own rhythm and say, "Look, I know I'm the best player in the world. Give me the ball, and I just want to do me." I do think that happens sometimes, but I don't think that's not Embiid's mindset at all times. I'm not going to put that on him and make him seem like he's the selfish guy who only cares about his stats. I really do truly believe that this guy wants to win a championship of the city. Like the way I felt about AI was he would do anything for us, not just for the Sixers, but he knew how much we, as the Sixers fan base, cared about the team. And I think he cared about winning just as much as he cared about his individual accolades. So I think the same for Embiid. I think he really has embraced the city and wants to win a championship for us.
I
I
agree with
think
that.
I think that since Harden's arrival, Harden has been heavily relied on upon getting the offense started as the point guard, And I felt like yesterday Harden just didn't have that mindset for whatever reason. And that trickled down to the team. What good is a ship without its captain? What good is a starting lineup without its point guard playing like it's supposed to play? So, I felt like his bad play last night kind of trickled down to the rest of the team. And, guys weren't moving, guys weren't cutting to the rack. There was no secondary cuts. And he got tripled. He got tripled on the 3-point line, on the corner of the 3-point line, and nobody came to the ball. Nobody came around. It's just, I just felt like it was a bad game by the whole team. But I'm glad we got it. I'm glad we got the tape, so we can do better.
Let's
So we
hope.
can do better. I know for sure they got to. You cannot play worse than you played last night. You
Well,
just can't.
that's true.
Have we ever seen Tyrese Maxey like that?
Yes,
year.
last year. That was kind of his MO last year. But yeah, he was surprising. I don't know. I've never seen him afraid of the moment. But he seemed like last night maybe he
And you
wasn't
know what's
ready.
crazy? Like, I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody in NBA. I promise you that.
Yeah, you are.
Uh,
But go ahead, compare.
No, I promise I'm not, but I'm just gonna equate it to when I play basketball, man. When you play against somebody that I know you looked up to, or somebody is upper echelon, like the matchups between Tyrese Maxey and Ja Morant is not the same as the matchup between Tyrese Maxey and Kyrie Irving, because he's in Ja Morant's peer class. He's looking up to guys like Kyrie Irving. He wants to achieve the type of thing. So I can imagine that just being in front of that guy, saying I want to prove myself to that guy, it just might have got too big for him last night, man. It really seemed like I thought about the one play. I've never seen Tyrese Maxey play such bad defense except for one play last night. Kyrie drove, Kyrie pumped, and the pump wasn't even very aggressive. Maxey jumped, Kyrie got into him, hit the fadeaway jumper. It just looked like Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. It was, look, you haven't got here yet. And I think after that play, I don't remember anything positive Tyrese Maxey did. I think he went into that matchup wanting to prove himself to a guy who he looks up to, and it kind of just got out of hand, and he didn't know. We down by 20. Do I give it to our best player, Embiid? Do I give it to James Harden, who's our new star? It got out of control, and he lost everything he had. And without further ado, oh yes,
D Lynam is here.
Yes, she is.
She's in the place to be. And
ma'am, can you hear us?
I'm trying.
how are you, D?
I'm doing all right. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
You're good.
Well, while you getting yourself together, ma'am, I just want to introduce you to everybody else. One, Mrs. D Lynam, this is the EatSleepSixers podcast. EatSleepSixers podcast. I would like to introduce you to sports broadcaster, writer, reporter, analyst, radio host, and most known, we all fell in love with D Lynam for her long time tenure as Philadelphia 76ers reporter for Comcast Sportsnet. She took us every time she went into the locker room. We was right there with her. We grew up with her. I grew up with her. I know some younger people that might not have grew up with her, but if you don't know, now you
That's
know.
right. I'm
This
getting old.
is D Lynam. Don't say that. You're not getting old. Look, you're not getting old. You're getting wise. You're getting
That's
wise.
true. That's true. Good point.
How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing all right. I apologize. I was playing golf with two people, and then I said, "Oh, let me set my alarm," and then time got away from me. So I apologize.
Did you play all 18 or you played 9?
16. It got dark.
I see. How good did you do, D?
I played all right.
Okay. Seems like you've been getting your practice in as of late. The last show we had last year with you, you were on the golf course as well.
Oh, I was? Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now you guys know how I spend my time.
well, D, we were just all spilling
There
our
she
guts out.
is. Oh, for a sec.
We were spilling our guts out about the obvious, the loss last night. We were all going over the why, the whats, and the hows. Can we get your take on the Brooklyn Nets and the 76ers from last night?
Well, it's been a popular question, obviously, today because of how it went down. But what I've said to most people is that I think when the trade went down and once Harden played with the Sixers, so like after All-Star, and, in his time, he started out and they were 5-0 when he played, right? So everybody nationally was saying how good it worked out for the Sixers. And nobody said anything about the Nets, right?
Right.
And with the Nets, Durant had been hurt. Ben never played. And Kyrie's a part-time guy. So I think in terms of Durant in particular, he was just kind of saying, let me just bide my time. And he always lets his actions speak for him. He's definitely, and let me just remind everybody, the guy was in the MVP conversation before he got hurt. So, the fact that he got back and now is trying to help his team get back to where they were before he got hurt should not be surprising. And I think that was the biggest thing, that team looked at the opportunity to say, everybody thinks they got the best end of this deal. Well, let us show you. And the two of them did exactly that.
Most definitely.
I like what you said there, but now what's your opinion? Who got the better end of the deal? Overall, who would Dei Lynam say, if you had to say who got the better end of that deal, who would you say?
Well, here's what I say. I think the best trades in any sport across the board is when both situations end up with a good end of the deal. You're not supposed to get better than the other guy. You're supposed to like what you got because you saw good value in it. So why does somebody have to be better than the other?
You're right, but that's all the media wants to talk about. Who won? I personally think both teams did get better. Both teams filled needs they both needed.
Yeah, I mean that's not revelation. The one team needed to get out from under a Ben Simmons contract, and the other team did not want to risk if Harden was going to opt out, which 9 times out of 10 guys don't, generally speaking, don't opt out of those situations. But you can't risk it. He was making it look like he was going to do that, and if that happens, you walk away with nothing. So,
Most definitely.
Yeah, both teams had to make a move.
I'll have to, ask this question because it's burning in my soul, Dave. What is going on with Tobias Harris?
When you say what is going on, meaning that you feel like he's dropped off into oblivion?
I think he's dropped off into Ben Simmons land, but I'm just saying.
No.
No.
Close.
It's just a joke, obviously, but I feel as though since Harden has come here, he's pretty much taken a hell of a back seat from what we've gotten used to see from Toby. Why is that? Is it the fit? Has the offense changed?
Well, I think part of it is, there's only so many shots to go around, right? So Maxey has thrived playing alongside. I don't think last night was a good example for Harden, Maxey, any of them. I actually thought Joel did his part and shouldn't have gotten lumped in for having, a horrible outing. But with Tobias, Maxey's game is that of a cutter, right? And his speed. And so playing off the ball with a Harden is going to help a guy like him. With Tobias, I personally think that Tobias as a spot-up three-point shooter is who he will evolve into being. And you can go back and look He started off this year shooting terribly from
Yeah.
three. I want to say it was 29%, but I want to say in January and February leading up to the All-Star game, I want to say that he was shooting over 40. And to me, that should be a place where he should thrive. And he'll get shots,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think part of it is him having to adjust to having a guy like a Harden who's going to get others shots, but he's going to get his own shots, and that's taking shots away from him. And he just has to figure out his role in this whole thing. And one of the things I will just say about Tobias is he's never going to be a guy who wants to be the problem. He wants to be the
Yeah.
solution. And
Most definitely.
I don't think he's hurting them, to be honest with you. I think he needs to be a little bit more selfish, in fairness. But I actually think he'll be fine moving forward. I really, last night I can't look at anything from last night, but I would say the game before that, defensively, he was really, really good in the game before that. And, before you had Harden, you were happy if he's averaging 18, which is what I think he was. I think that
Yep.
number is dropping. And so,
Yes,
but if
it
the
is.
guy gives you 14, are you that upset? 4 less points. I mean, come on.
True indeed.
Thank
Nope.
True indeed. Jen, you have a question for Miss Lynam?
Hi, Dee. I'm so happy to
Hi.
meet you. I'm a huge fan of yours. We love listening to your radio show. I just want to tell you that first off. So what do you see as the Sixers ceiling for this season? If you were honest.
Well, I think a couple of things. The East has a lot of parity in it. So I can't say that I see somebody is so much better than somebody else. I think Miami, Chicago, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, the Celtics have played well of late. I don't think you can ignore Cleveland. And so I think there's a lot of parity out there. I think health will be a big part of it. I think experience does matter. So I think teams like Chicago and Cleveland, because they haven't been there with their units, that I do think that that's something to consider. And I think the fact that the Sixers have been there and do understand that what it takes, and it's not easy. I do feel like that will be a big deal for them this year. But I think, if you have to play, Milwaukee or Brooklyn in one of these first or second rounds, to think that you're going to automatically advance, I think I would recommend that you relook at that.
Absolutely. And I have a follow-up that, like, if you had the opportunity to change whatever you wanted about this team to improve it, what do you think changes you would make?
Well, first of all, I mean, they just underwent a huge change in adding a James Harden and adding a former MVP, all-star caliber point guard is no small feat.
No, it's not.
I think you should recognize that and understand that that was a big deal to do that. So, I would say that probably I'd have to go and look. Obviously, offensively, since Harden has been with them, they've been able to put up 120 points a game on average. And, that's pretty significant. They have gotten to the line, and Joel Embiid and Harden are big time free throw shooters. And Tobias and Maxey are high level, in the high 80s shooting at the foul line also. So those numbers are worthy to look at. somebody probably would say you gave up some outside shooting when you had to put Seth in the deal, and but you have to give to get, and so maybe you would like an outside shooter to complement what you have with Harden, Embiid, Maxey, and Tobias.
Definitely agree.
Most
And some
definitely.
defense, more defense. We need a little people that are a little stronger on defense.
Why?
I don't know about that, but you're entitled to that opinion.
See, this is what I love about your show when I listen to you. You just say, that's okay. We have different opinions. And I love that.
It is okay.
I don't know if
Why?
you watch, but I don't know if you watch, D, but me and that guy that's other than me on your screen, all we do is disagree. We never have the same opinion.
It's good. It's good for television, D. So I have a question.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I always say I have no problem if somebody has a different opinion than mine, so long as you can back it up, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm usually pretty good about backing my own stuff up because I can go to numbers. I'm a little bit of a math geek, and I think I've been taught the game by somebody who's been in the game for a long, long time and is well respected. And
Yes, sir.
so I credit my dad for giving me good knowledge, and I try to pass it on. And
The,
so that's kind
the
of how
one
I do
thing
it.
that's undefeated, D, is facts. When you go into a conversation and you got facts, that person that's just saying their opinion from their heart, they lost already.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, yeah, I think, but
I have one more question, D. I see you're driving. We don't want to keep you too long. What is going on with Isaiah
I'm not
Joe?
driving. I'm in the back seat. I don't want you to think I'm actually doing it.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm so afraid right
I'm being
now.
Carl
I'm
the
being
feds. He trying
chauffeured.
to
Yeah, I have
So
a Uber driver taking me from
awesome,
point A to point B.
awesome, awesome. Why hasn't Isaiah Joe been able to get consistent minutes in that backup unit? Why has Court Moss overridden him as far as coming off the bench?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I've witnessed things like this with other coaches as well. I think sometimes veteran coaches come to a point in time where they just don't trust youth. And I
Yeah.
saw it with Larry Brown was,
Yeah.
the epitome of it, right? If you were
Yes.
young and you were on that roster, forget about it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think of Bruce Bowen was on that Sixers team at one point. Rajah Bell was on that team, and these guys went on to have really significant roles. Rajah with Phoenix and Bruce Bowen with San Antonio, and it's I think they were the same guys, maybe a little younger, maybe their development had not hit its stride yet, but come on, there
Come
was
on.
something there. And I think that's part of it, that there's just this lack of trust with,
Yeah.
youth. And I have to tell you, like Isaiah Joe got in the other night, and one of his first possessions, I think it was the second possession since he took the court, that he turned the ball over. And it's like,
Yeah.
you
I saw
Yeah.
can't
that.
do that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just can't do that.
Right. Got to be locked
So,
in.
I mean, I don't want you to play afraid, and I get that I want you to be aggressive, but, it's opportunity, and you can't make that the first thing that happens. So, I mean, he has an NBA skill in being able to knock down a three, and I think Doc will continue to try to work, and he'll go back and forth between Korkmaz, Isaiah Joe, even Shake. And I think he'll look at those minutes. I think the Yang definitely has a place in the rotation, and I think Shake does too, to be honest with you. But I think with Isaiah and Korkmaz, it's just going to be this back and forth until one of them maybe grabs hold. And in all the years that I've watched Korkmaz, he's never been a guy who grabs hold, and he's just not consistent for me. And he's gonna make you fall in love one night and make you gonna wish you never dated the guy.
That is
Just
the truest
terrible.
thing I've heard today.
Yes.
I just
Definitely.
wanted to, can I just switch for a second? Because I know you do a lot of work with the Blue Coats, and
Yeah.
they have a really good team this year.
They have a great team, and Kobe Carl deserves a ton of credit.
Is
Please
that the
take notice of that. Yeah, absolutely. He's changed the culture down there. He is, it's not easy coaching in the G League because there's so many moving parts from day to day. And so you're trying, ultimately you are there to be helping what I call, the mothership, which is the Sixers, right? So you're trying to develop talent and play in a similar manner to what the big league team does, but you don't necessarily have the personnel to be able to carry that out.
Yes.
And so it's kind of tricky. And then put on top of that other teams can come in and take. So right now, like Haywood Highsmith got 2 10-day contracts from the Miami Heat. And so you're really, really happy for a guy, but it impacts your ability to win games, or it should, or it could. And Kobe is just so good about going with the flow. And, so when a guy gets called up or taken away, a guy then is given an opportunity. But the next game, you might have 2 guys being sent down, like Jaden Springer or Miles out, and then Jared Brownridge is getting 10 minutes off the bench as opposed to being in the starting lineup. And for a lot of guys, they find that hard to deal with. And Kobe has just made that environment. He just has such a great way of communicating, and he flat out knows basketball. And he's, they won the showcase.
Yes, I saw that. And weren't they pulling people from that for like 10-day hardship deals and stuff? Yeah.
And that was a big part of this year, that a ton more people got called up to NBA teams because of pandemic and people being in protocol, that there was a whole lot more of call-ups. And so, and they're still in the playoff picture of what is the regular season right now. So you have to be in the top 6. And as of yesterday, they were 3rd. I don't know what happened overnight, but they'll be a playoff team.
That's awesome. It wasn't last year they made it to their very first as a playoffs as an organization.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that was they played in a bubble, and the whole reason they played in the bubble, and not every G League team opted in. There were some that did not decide to go because it was financially, it was an expensive endeavor. But the reason the G League wanted that season to happen no matter what was because of Team Ignite, which was it was the first year they were having it. Where they had high school kids, part of a team that played other G League teams, and they had some veterans on there, and they had 4 of them that were in the draft lottery. And so they did not want the first year of that being wiped away just because of the pandemic. So that's why they created the bubble.
Dee, I don't mean to put you on the spot right here, but we would love to have you on during the playoffs if you have some availability. Would that be a possibility?
Absolutely. And I'll make sure I'm not in an Uber.
We'll take you in an Uber. It's fine.
We'll take you in an Uber, Dee.
We'll take you in an Uber. We'll take you on a bicycle. We'll take you, whatever.
Well, I just like to say
No. D doesn't get off the hook like the rest of our guests got to go through these questions. D got to go through the major question. So D,
what question?
Usually it's just one question, ma'am. Usually I ask, I put our guests on the spot. They get into the conversation and they count. When I hit them with this question, they kind of get stumped and it takes them a while to answer. But I got a feeling you might be good. But I'm switching up the question. The question is usually, You got to go to war. You got to go to war with 5 Sixers, and I want you to pick your coach from all-time Sixers, your 5 players and your 5 Sixers to go to war with, and you know you coming out on
All right,
top.
first of all,
But
I
I'm
can't right
sweating.
now because the world is in a terrible. I know, but the world is in a terrible place, so please don't use that.
And guess
We're not
what?
in their lives.
So when I say war, I mean war on the basketball
Oh.
court. Obviously not real. Obviously not real war. But
Okay,
I'm switching
all
the
right.
question up for you because
I
you've
know.
had
I'm just
you've
pointing
had
it out.
you've had conversations with people that I look up to, people that I grew up watching and wishing I could be. So I want to know who would be the 5 people that you would sit down with just to have good conversation from the Sixers organization. That could be any coach that you've ever talked to, any player you've ever talked to, anybody within that organization that you've ever had a conversation with. Who is that 5 that you would just like to sit down and have good conversation with?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, I've already conversed with these people.
And I understand, and I know you know who you could have a great five with. So I want to know who would be that 5.
I mean, it's kind of a strange question, to be honest with you, but there's a lot of good people. Am I talking players, front office, everybody?
Everybody, man.
We're talking starting 5, all-time Sixers, and your coach who would coach that team. That's what we're talking.
So you're saying players and then pick a coach. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
So you're not including front office people.
No.
All right. So 5 players. Charles and Allen.
Okay.
Lou Williams.
Okay.
Kyle
Everybody
Korver.
loves Lou.
Okay.
And hold on, I'm thinking. Andre Iguodala.
Okay. Okay. And your coach of that team would be?
Jim Lynam. Are you crazy?
I was about to say, I don't think she was allowed to say anything else to that answer.
Well, D,
what part do you
And
guys
if you were
not
watching this and you do not know already that Dee is the daughter of former Sixers coach, assistant coach Jim Lynam, now you know. He is also the current pre and post game and analyst for the Sixers. Y'all need to know that.
Yeah, he was the head coach of the team. He was the general manager of the team, and he's been an assistant through the years with different people. Mo Cheeks, Eddie Jordan.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, the Eddie Jordan days. Lord.
That must have been fun growing up around that day.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Dee, we're not going to hold you. We're going to let you go with the promise that you'll be back towards the postseason. We have that on the air here. And
yes, sir. No, it's not a problem. Absolutely.
Great. I'll communicate with you via email like we have been. You have a blessed night and get some rest.
It was so nice talking to you, Dee. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Pleasure, nice talking to all of you guys.
All right. Take care. Have a good evening. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
And to you all.
Amazing.
The legendary Dei Lynam. It was well worth the wait. I hope you guys enjoyed the experience. Closing thoughts from my family. Jen, you were saying, I'm sorry.
No, I just love her so much. As a female, to get to listen to a smart woman talking sports on the radio, I mean, it's so rare. It's just like, I mean, I love listening to her because she knows what she's talking about. She doesn't belittle people. Like I was saying to her in the when I was asking her a question, she doesn't belittle people if they have differing opinions, like some talk hosts do. I just adore her. So I was very, very nice.
This is all family right here watching. This is the usuals. So if you watch this episode right now, I need you to share it as much as possible. This was a big moment for our podcast, a big moment for you guys. The legendary Dei Lynam talking facts. You know, BG suited and booted for the job. You know, he's in war mode.
I just got off of work and I said, look, I don't got time to change, but the one thing I will do is throw on the logo that they had that the Sixers wore when I really found out who Dei Lynam was. I wasn't gonna wear my old school Sixers, my new school Sixers hat. I wanted to wear the logo that made me like Dei Lynam when I started to listen to Dei Lynam. So that's why I wore this hat. But I ain't had time to change. I'm sorry.
Listen, I thank you guys for sitting with us for an hour. You know, we were slated at 7 o'clock, but with high profile guests like that, you never know. They're shooting golf, they're doing this, they're doing that. But Dee is a woman of her word. And, you know, we appreciate that. This has been another great special edition episode of Eat Sleep Sixers. BG, go ahead.
Tim Graham, I want to give you a shout out because it's your first time. We try to make it a point to always shout out our first time watchers, our first time listeners. If you don't know, we are on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. We are everywhere. Snapchat, wherever you want to find content. And if you didn't know, this is our fourth co-host, Sixers fan for life.
Hold up.
The big dog is in the building.
You ain't gonna jack up my model. I'm here to say it.
Go ahead.
Ain't no migo jumping off tonight.
All right, let's start it off the right way then. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitch. We at the golf course with Dei Lynam. We everywhere.
Time out. Let me stop you right there. All right. Anyway, I was supposed to be on the show tonight, fellas. I just want to apologize. I had technical difficulties. Computer was acting up. But I happened to watch the whole show, so it was great. It was great. You know, just to have people like that on here. She's super great at her job. We all grew up watching her. I was a young kid, and she was interviewing legends. You know what I mean? Yeah, smart woman. That was dope. Great show on you guys too. That was awesome. Awesome questions. So yeah. So with that being said, don't forget to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend.
Say it in another language they might understand a little better from you, Jose. I want to hear it.
Hold up, I can't hardly hear. No te olvides a decirle a un amigo que le diga a un amigo que le diga a otro amigo. Yes, sir. Wepa.
Yes, sir. Wepa. Hey, be clear to rewind this. Go on YouTube. Go on every platform we're on. We're going to be pushing this show all night in your face. Dei Lynam, EatSleepSixers family. We love you guys. Thanks for watching for this hour. God bless.
Don't
Bye,
forget,
everybody.
like,
See
share,
you on
subscribe,
Sunday.
follow. We bro, them 5 icons, they not sitting there for nothing.
Well,
And I ain't over here saying tell a friend in 2 different languages for nothing. So
Wepa?
Wepa. It's getting big, Jose. We got to come out with Wepa shirts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go Sixers.
Anyway,
hey, before we jump off, I'm sorry.
Don't forget to
Exactly what I
check
was about to
out
say.
Off Night Sixers coming on right after us. Sabri is doing his thing. Salute to them. You know what I'm saying? You know, we gotta lift each other up, man, especially in bad times. You see what the world is going through. So, you know, we ain't gotta turn that into a contagious thing. You know what I mean? We gotta stand up and support one another through the good times and the bad.
We're all about love, man, and spreading the love. So, you know, we love you guys for watching. Keep supporting us. Keep watching. Keep sharing. And have a blessed night. We will see you guys pregame. Orlando Magic. Peace out.